mercenaries, really, that's the double M. Born baller, baby boy, I be above the rim.
What's good, family? It's your boy Just Blaze, host of the best NBA pod in the game, Above the Rim. Keep it locked each week and join myself and a special guest as we tackle the latest rumblings in the league. If it's happening in the NBA, you know I got you covered. Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and leave that 5-star review. Let's get it.
To be honest, I wasn't even worried about no crowd. I couldn't hear a thing.
You made a gesture as you were going off for the first time?
Yeah, to J.R. Smith to meet me in the back.
Okay. Got it.
That's what it was, so. Told him to come back to the back, you know what I'm saying? All that on the court, we can handle that off the court. I ain't with that, and that's on my mama. May she rest in peace. Ain't no punk right here. Man, on my mama, may she rest in peace. That shit dead. So, whatever happened, happened. JR know where I'm at. Everybody know where I'm at. It is what it is.
Marcus, that's what I was going to ask. Are emotions a little running higher for you right now?
Nah, they the same me. I've been like this. Ain't nothing changed about me. Ain't nothing gonna change about me.
Talk about it!
You are now tuned in to Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the streets.
Family, what's good? Welcome back to another edition of Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the streets. You already know how we do. Brought to you as always. It's your host, Justin, aka Just Blaze. Family, you know the drill. To get in contact with me, you can always hit me up and follow me on Twitter at JustBlaze_513, on IG at JustBlaze513, on Facebook, search Above the Rim Podcast, and also email the show as well, Above the Rim NBA Podcast at gmail.com. Tap in and leave the family a voicemail. The line is always open, family. 908-718-1592. Talk about it line is always live. Make sure you call in to support the show. You know you can always do that by copying your merch. Link is in my bio. Very easy to find. I appreciate you, family. Appreciate the love and support that y'all been giving to me over these last couple of years I've been doing the show. Appreciate you rocking with me as always. Leave your boy a review on iTunes and Spotify. Make sure you go ahead and do that if you enjoy the show. Check out the YouTube page as well for the visuals. I'm gonna start getting back to it. Don't worry about it. I got y'all. Trust me. I hear y'all. But that'll be up there soon. Link is in my bio. Very easy to find. Like I said, everything. So I appreciate y'all. Solo episode this week, family. No special guests. NBA Finals preview. We are almost at the finish line, family. Now, last time y'all heard me, you know I was talking a lot of shit about them Suns. I was really pissed. I was highly emotional. I had to take some time off, man. A couple days off for the Twitter. A couple of days off from the crazy comments because I was pissed, man. Every single game of that Western Conference Finals between the Mavs and the Warriors was pissing me off. Every single game. The Mavs had no business in that series. I'm gonna be honest here. So it was tough for me to watch because I was really pissed off that whole series. Man, I was mad. But that's neither here nor there. I'm still tight, if you care. I'm still tight that the Suns are not in the finals this year. But hey, it is what it be, man. Let's get it. Warriors and Celtics. Let's get to talking about this very intriguing matchup. Boston Celtics, Golden State Warriors. A very nice finals. I'm not gonna hold you, family. A very, very nice finals. I really like that. I think the NBA and the powers that be got exactly what they wanted in this NBA finals. Two franchises that they can market very, very well. Stars on both sides. Likeable guys on both sides. Rising stars against a team trying to recapture their glory. Number one ranked offense in the playoffs versus the number one ranked defense in the playoffs. Both teams stylistically are different, but both are very, very versatile, so they both can play different styles. A lot of boths going on right here. This is Boston's first appearance in the NBA Finals since 2010. This is the Golden State Warriors is appearing in their sixth NBA Finals in the last 8 years. During the regular season, the Celtics and the Warriors split the season series 1-1, each winning on the opposing team's home floor. But, you know, around that time, both teams were dealing with various injuries at those times. So that really may not mean much as far as this series goes. And it also goes to show that neither team really need home court in this series as much. And both teams can actually win on the road, and both can win on each other's home opposing floor. So the Warriors, they haven't seen a defense like the Celtics. The Celtics, they haven't seen an offense like the Warriors. I can't lie, man. I like this run for the Celtics, man. I like this run for the Celtics that they have been on, and the way this team has responded to every single challenge, every single piece of adversity thrown their way over the past couple of weeks, and especially over the last couple of months, really. They've had a roller coaster of a year with they got off to a rough start. People, a few losers were talking about fire. Coach Ime Udoka, wildin'. Talking about a lot of people talking about breaking up Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, wildin'. Come on, man. Marcus Smart talking about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are both chucking, not passing the rock enough. Wildin'. Listen, man, they have had a roller coaster of a season, and I'm very proud of those boys. I'm very proud of these guys really breaking through and getting through as many Eastern Conference Finals as they have been in the past couple of years. It's really good to see a team finally break through and actually get to the NBA Finals. Now, it's still a job to be done, so they just got to do it. They can't be just happy to be here in these finals because they are playing against the Warriors. They're all playing against seasoned vets. They are playing against established champions that know how to win big-time games and have big-time players. So the Celtics got to be ready for the challenge, man. And like I said, I can't lie. I like the run the Celtics have been on and the way they've responded in these last couple of months. And the Celtics are the right finals matchup for the Warriors because the last few years, I believe they're the only team with a winning record against the Warriors since Steve Kerr took over in 2014. And that's pretty impressive. I can't lie. That's very, very impressive when it goes as far as personnel, as far as roster-wise, roster shape, because these are primarily the same rosters, same core of the roster for the last couple of years. So both teams know each other well, but not necessarily in the series when the stakes are at its highest. And there are lots of similarities between the two teams as well as many differences. So let's talk about it, man. Both teams, they can get sloppy with the ball. Both teams have a semi-high turnover rate. Both teams can go cold for several minutes at a time, despite all of their offensive talent. Offense wins these teams' games, but defense is what keeps them in it. Golden State most likely will want to operate early in the shot clock, but with how well the Celtics recovered to their shooters, a lot of possessions could either drag out longer than the Warriors would like. And at that point, that advantage, in my opinion, goes to Boston, especially in a slower pace type of game. I think that more of an advantage goes toward Boston because they have a lot more isolation players. They have a lot more guys who can make tougher buckets in traffic with defense on them with a foul. So in the last series, the Eastern Conference Finals, the Celtics, they spent a good amount of time hunting preferred matchups against the Miami Heat, and the team found success in that way. And on the flip side of that, when the Mavs tried to hunt the Golden State Warriors, they handled it very well. When Luka, he frequently targeted Steph Curry in plenty of pick and rolls, they weren't really as successful in doing that matchup hunting because the Warriors didn't allow Curry to switch on to Luka that often. Maybe a couple of times here and there, but for primarily of the series, there weren't that many possessions where Curry was stuck out on the island against Luka, which means that the Warriors had a game plan and they executed the defensive game plan because I know they knew the Mavericks were going to try to do that and they had a counter. So that's the championship team right there. They had Curry. The Warriors had Curry showing and hedging a lot on Luka, just enough to stop his momentum so that the original defender could recover and Curry could go race back to his assignment. So look for something similar like that in this series between the Celtics and Warriors, as they don't want Curry on Tatum. They don't want Curry on Brown either. Now, if Tatum, JT, who was phenomenal creating shots for his teammates down the stretch in Game 7 of the last series, and Jaylen Brown are able to use that attention they draw themselves to set up teammates for clean looks, the Warriors who are a team that doesn't like to double team, are going to have a dilemma on their hands, asking Curry or asking Poole to guard both of those guys straight up when they are isolated on occasion, because it's going to happen a few times in every game. Actually, it's going to happen a lot because, like I said, they're going to be matchup hunting, and we're going to see how the Warriors respond to the Celtics matchup hunting, because that is their best offensive game plan against them. Now, let's go to the inside. The Warriors, I looked at the numbers. The Warriors statistically have been a better rebounding team than the Celtics in the playoffs. But look at the matchups. That usually dictates a lot of these numbers, and a lot of these numbers are skewed, especially when you get to the playoffs, because they're all matchup dependent. Now, the Warriors, they played a small Dallas team and a Memphis team that was without Steven Adams for half of the series, even though they were still a big team. But Steven Adams didn't play for half of that series. And when Steven Adams did play, he hurt them on the glass, especially during games 4 and 5, I believe, or 5 and 6. I can't remember, when he had about 12 offensive rebounds in about 2 games. So he definitely hurt Looney on the inside and Draymond on those boys on the inside. He definitely was a force. So Boston, on the other hand, has had to deal with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat, who both teams who crash the boards a lot harder than the Warriors and are more physical. So the rebounding battle is going to be very important this series. And in this matchup, the Celtics, Horford, Time Lord, and even Tice, they can play bigger than Golden State, which has gotten great play out of Kevon Looney. I'm not going to lie, Kevon Looney has been all right in these playoffs. He's been playing better, unfortunately, than DeAndre Ayton, which is why he needs to go. Shots fired. But I'm not going to lie. I think that's about to expire this round. Looney, you had a nice little run, man. I'm not going to lie. I think that's about to expire, my guy. I think you're going against the Time Lord. You're going against Al Horford. There's going to be a lot more of a challenge in this series. And creating those consistent second chance opportunities combined with the two-way perimeter size Boston boasts, it adds up over a series in a big way. So the rebounding battle will be crucial, to say the least, in this series. And let's talk about some of the key matchups in the series. In the backcourt, got Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown for the Celtics. You got Steph and Clay for the Warriors. Obviously, everything in this series orbits around Steph Curry, especially on offense. He's a most important player, obviously. One of the greatest shooters ever, obviously. Their main offensive weapon, obviously. The gravity that he pulls. Everything that he causes on the floor has to be accounted for. But on the other hand, he's also the player that Boston is going to try to target on the other end of the floor, especially on the defensive end. So for the Celtics, defending him, Steph Curry, is clearly priority 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Is to limit Steph Curry. You're not going to be able to stop him, but you can probably limit him to the amount of impact he has with his buckets. Because when he hits a 3, it really feels like 6. It really feels like 8 when he hits a 3. So that's going to be their most difficult task, and obviously their main task if they are actually going to try to pull this off. So defending Curry will be tough, as we all know. Marcus Smart, he's going to start possessions off on Curry, but in the Celtics switching style defense, he probably won't finish most of the possessions on Curry. We know the Warriors, they're going to run an endless maze of screens, cross cuts to get Curry open, to get Clay open, to get Poole open. And it's going to be important for Smart to be able to call out and trust his teammates to switch and pick up Steph when he can't fight through that traffic. How Horford, how Time Lord, how Grant Williams pick up that switch will be the key to the series, in my opinion. Now, are they going to be physical as soon as he slips out of that screen? Or are they just going to chase him around? Because that's not going to work. And if you give Steph even a slither of time, he's going to hit that 3, or he might shake you and get to the rim, either one. So as far as the Celtics goes, they have to over-communicate and be disciplined wherever they are switching, because it's not going to be easy in the heat of the moment. And like I said, they've never faced the offense like the Warriors in these playoffs thus far. So it's going to be a challenge for them. And it's going to slap them back into reality very, very quick. Very, very quick in game 1. So we're going to see how they adjust to that, to the initial shock. And Clay, he's going to get his shots off. But to me, he's still deficient in creating offense off the dribble. More than half of his shots are still threes now, and a large chunk of those are spot-up threes. So it's going to be really important for Jaylen Brown to not get caught ball watching when he's guarding Klay. JB is going to be good to great when he's on ball, playing on defense when he's on ball. But when he's off the ball, sometimes, he can tend to get a little lax on occasion. Not very often because he's been very focused in these playoffs, but it's very easy to just lose your focus, even for a second, when he play against the Golden State Warriors, and they can haunt you real quick. And the Celtics, man, they just got to do what they've been doing all playoffs. Playing physical, getting to the rim, free throws, and most importantly, match the Warriors' timely threes. Jaylen is giving you 23 in the playoffs while Smart is putting up 15 tonight. Those numbers should be good enough to win if they sustain those numbers. I believe Jaylen gives you 23 and Marcus Smart gives you 15 to 18, even 12 to 16 or somewhere around there with a couple of assists. Great defense, no foul trouble. I think those are good enough numbers to win this series because the Celtics, they will score by committee. Now let's talk about the front court a little bit. JT, Al Horford, Tom Lord versus Wiggins, Dre, and Looney. This is where the Celtics have to press their advantage. Listen to me. JT is the best player of this group, and it's by a wide margin. The key is that he has to be the best player in each game of this series. JT can't have any of those 4 for 15 type of games, 4 or 5 turnovers. The Warriors are too good for Boston to overcome a bad game from JT, or multiple bad games from JT. The minimum each night he should have is about 22. Minimum. I might even say 25, but I'm going to go minimum 22, right? Because he could have a tough night, whatever. 22 should be the minimum for JT. I don't care about the percentages as long as you're making buckets. Every basket is going to be hard to come by, so those tough shots that he makes that only count for 2 might feel like 4. He's averaging 27 for the playoffs, playing against a more tougher, more physical defenders than Andrew Wiggins. So expect that type of production and more. I'm assuming more. At the time, they're definitely going to switch Draymond on him from time to time, but what he needs to do is use Draymond's physicality and aggression against him when he does switch out on him. Throw more pump fakes, get him in the air, early foul trouble, let him start arguing with the ref a little bit and get his ass tossed out. Get his ass tossed out. JT is and will always be the key for the Boston Celtics. This is your series, bro. Nobody can hold you. Go out and get it. The Time Lord, Al Horford combo is way better to me than Draymond and Looney, in my opinion. And even if Tom Lord is 80% of himself, I still think this front court still tips towards Boston. He's that impactful to me on both ends of the floor. Tom Lord being a lob threat, and on the other end being basically a free safety, rim protector, and rebounder. That's very important for him. So we'll see if Tom Lord can be semi-healthy. Even 80% Tom Lord, I'll take. On the reserve side, I think both teams have solid benches, and I think you're going to see a few unexpected heroes in a few of these games. On the Warriors side, we know Poole probably going to give you about 15 to 20. Let's see if he can still cook as he has been this whole playoffs. He's really proven himself. Gary Payton II, we know he's coming back now from the NBA Finals. He's going to be very important in this series. He's going to be a guy. He's one of the few shorter guys in the league that can guard guys above his height. So you never know. You might see him on Marcus Smart. You might see him on Jaylen Brown from time to time. So his full court defense is going to be important. And his defense will definitely be a factor if he's getting the adequate amount of minutes. Kuminga, I think you actually might see Kuminga a little bit in this series. Even if he plays the 4, maybe some small ball 5. I don't know. Maybe Dre will play the 5 and he plays the 4. But you never know. I think you're going to see some Jonathan Kuminga in this series, and I think he might be a factor as well off the bench. And on the Celtics side, Grant Williams, we know, is going to get quality minutes. Daniel Tice, I think he should get a couple of minutes because I think he can definitely play against Looney. He can definitely play against Draymond, so I think he should earn some minutes so that you're not taxing too much on Horford and Tom Lord's knees. And also Peyton Pritchard. I think the point guard, the reserve point guard for the Boston Celtics, I think you should get some minutes in the series because the Celtics are going to need another creator or someone else who can really push the pace if Smart gets into trouble or if he's pressing a little bit because he's going to be a little fatigued playing all that defense he has. I'm chasing them screens around on the other end, so we'll see. And we'll see which bench comes out on top more in this series because there's going to be a good factor. There's going to be a couple of games where somebody off the bench gets you a good 15 to 20. Couple of things I'm watching for going into this NBA Finals matchup. Jason Tatum's intensity. Listen, I went on Twitter talking about this before. I need to see Dog JT this series. I need him to get a little angry. The streets would love to see it. An angry JT will get you 40. That's all I'm going to say about that. JT's intensity, raise it up a notch, my G. Raise it up a notch. Another thing I'm watching for in this series, Marcus Smart's playmaking. Now, like I said, he has a tremendous, very important job on the other end. One of the best players in the league that can guard Steph Curry or really make it tough on him a little bit. His stamina might be taxed in this series. Why that makes a difference is because on the offensive end, he's your point guard. He has to have the amount of energy to get somebody some good shots from time to time. We'll see how that affects his offense. If his defensive intensity and stamina will affect his offense. We'll see. Marcus Smart is defense first, but you still need him to get that 10 to 15. Let's see how he goes in this series. Refs. Are the refs going to allow physicality in this series? If so, how much? We know the refs in this playoffs have been horrendous. They have been an abomination in this entire playoffs for all of the teams. They are out of control. But if they allow some physicality in this NBA Finals, if they are not too trigger happy with that whistle, if we get Scott Foster in a limited amount of games, I think the physicality favors Boston. I like what I see over there. The turnover battle. I talked about it early in the episode. A major key in this series will be the turnovers. Both Boston and Golden State are prone to having halves and games where they throw the ball all over the gym. Whoever can control that more often will have a major advantage in this finals. Another key, Jordan Poole. How much of an offensive force is he going to be? Is he going to give you 10 or 15? Or is he going to give you 15 to 25? And that's a big deal, and that's a big difference because he's that one guy that really creates majority of his points off the dribble. And that's going to be essential for the Golden State Warriors if they want to win this series also as well. Will Draymond give you anything offensively? He's going to have to give you something because you can't have two non-scoring threats on the floor for the Warriors at the same time in Draymond Green and Kevin Looney. I think that's advantage Boston. Al Horford could get you a bucket or two. Tom Lord could get you a lob or two. Everybody can score. He's going to have to get something offensively. Who is Steph Curry guarding? Especially on switches. How many times will Steph Curry be switched out on JT on the post? How many times will he be switched out on Jaylen Brown in the post? That may be one of the deciding factors of the series. If the Celtics can force that switch more often than not, they could win this series. Speaking of the Celtics, their mental state. Are they disciplined enough to win this series? Are they disciplined enough, especially on the defensive end, when the Warriors running their screens, down screens, pin downs, curls, back and forth, front and back, with the quickness? Are the Celtics disciplined enough to stick to the game plan? And like I said, over communicate on the defensive end. If they are disciplined enough, they could win this series. Another question that I had, have the Warriors really been challenged in this playoffs? I was talking about it with my boy Wole on his show, man. Shout out to him, the Urban Sports Team. Make sure you check that out. Have they really been challenged in these playoffs? The Celtics are the best team that they faced thus far in this playoffs. If you're being real about it, they faced the Nuggets without Jamal Murray, without Michael Porter Jr. They were a horrible team. Barely an AC getting up in there. Nobody had no faith in the Nuggets. They played the Grizzlies with a tough series. Very, very tough series. Ja was averaging over 30 on them until he went out. And then we knew the series was done at that point. And also, they were also hobbled because Steven Adams didn't even play in the beginning of the series when Ja was playing. So they really never had a full roster playing against them. Had Dylan Brooks suspended in that series too, so there wasn't a fully healthy Grizzlies team. They got them up out of there. Then they went and played the Mavs, who had no business in the Western Conference Finals. It was supposed to be the Suns. The Mavericks, who had no business in the Western Conference Finals they played against. And they were missing Tim Hardaway Jr. also. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a major piece. They haven't had him for a while, yeah, but he is still a piece on their team that could have helped. But let's be real, they had no business in the Western Conference Finals. So those are three mediocre teams they played. Aside from the Grizzlies, they're not mediocre, but without Ja Morant, they're mediocre. Yes. I don't care about their regular season record. Without Ja Morant, yes. In the playoff series, yes, they are mid. So this right here, I say that to say this. This right here is the Warriors' toughest challenge in this playoffs. They haven't played a team as good as the Celtics. Might be a little shell shock on their end too. We'll see. On the Celtics side, man, listen, when you play the Warriors, you basically have to be perfect. You're going to have to play a perfect game, fellas. You have one mental lapse, even if it's just for 1 or 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 45 seconds, they will end you without even breaking a sweat. They will end you. Be disciplined, be focused. Both teams need to be on their A game, actually, to win, because both of these teams are very evenly matched. So like I said before, I really like this series, man. This is going to be a nice, solid little series. Media narratives are already going crazy because the media is bored with this weak NBA Finals coverage they've been given thus far. Is very weak. So the media narratives are going crazy. They're going real hard to give Steph Curry that Finals MVP already. Didn't even play the damn series and they're trying to give it to him. Already talking about his legacy if he gets a Finals MVP. Damn, relax. Let him throw the ball up first. My pick for this series. This series is full of what makes basketball great. Both teams can play big. Both teams can play small. Both teams can run while they can. Both will execute some of the best stuff in the half court. Great coaching on both sides. Emotional players. Very different styles, but styles makes fights. If the Celtics win the 2022 NBA Finals, it will be because Jason Tatum was the best player on the floor. I said what I said. Bring it home. With that being said, Nia Long is 6. Nia the Goddess in 6. Celtics in 6. That's my pick, man. Because I think they're going to have to win 6 games because I don't want them to go in the 7th game in the chase in and think they can win that because I don't know if they can win 3 game 7s in a playoff run. That's a little crazy. So Celtics, they got to win in 6. They got to take one of these first 2 games in Golden State. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram. Let me know how y'all feel about the NBA Finals. Let me know what y'all think about the NBA Finals. I'm going to be tweeting throughout the finals. You already know. So come bang with me on both apps. Let me know what it is. Family, I appreciate you as always joining me once again for another episode. Keeping it locked with me on this playoff journey. Almost at the finish line. 1 series left. Let's get it. Make sure you, like I said before, hit me up on Twitter and IG. Make sure you give me your thoughts on the series, key matchups. Subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Write me a nice review on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. I appreciate you, family. This is episode 183, and we out.